I'm sure everyone here has an old grandfather's tale. You know, one of those stories you used to hear when you were young that you were never sure whether it was true or not. It might have included that little bit of exaggeration, changed slightly every time you heard it, and sometimes even left you with a sprinkle of fear. But right now, in a world that is changing at a pace never seen before, organisations and their employees are at a crossroads. They've heard about this for several years now. It's mentioned in Parliament, on the news, and even their competitors have been whispering about gently starting to get involved. But unfortunately, the topic is often surrounded by fear and misunderstood by us humans. And today, I want to bust 4 myths I often hear around the topic of automation. And whilst this wasn't something me and my grandfather would sit down and discuss, as a society, now more than ever, we have the opportunity to break down those barriers and allow ourselves to leap forward. Every one of us use some sort of automation in our everyday lives. Whether that's with our bank, booking a taxi, or the end-to-end process of taking a flight from an airport. We try it, we test it, we have a right good moan about it, but in the end, we often embrace it as it makes our lives that little bit easier. It allows us to spend less time on the admin and more on what we enjoy doing. But to get involved in designing it and embracing it in the workplace, no chance. That's for the techies. They say, I don't have any experience in that sort of thing. In our financial services firm, 1 in 5 of our automation team are apprentices who've come straight from school. And I remember one of them telling me, Ali, I originally thought about doing a 4-year university course in technology, but I was worried the skills I gained at the end of it were then irrelevant. I thought it was better to learn as I go. Our youngest team member, 21, our eldest, 50, less than 15% have an IT qualification of any sort. The remainder, they've been reskilled and upskilled from traditional roles of the past, highly experienced individuals with years of knowledge of our customers and our markets. Employees in the latter years of their career having the realisation that something needs to change if they're still to work for another 2 decades. Never did they expect to have to do much different from what they did today, but with the right mindset, change is possible. With the technology also advancing at such a pace, low-code platforms have meant it's easier than ever before for employees to get involved in the basics and get a foot in the automation door. This, coupled with the ever-increasing amount of data that businesses have at their disposal, there is a real opportunity for us to improve our business decisions, customer outcomes, and start to develop these future employees. People having this personal resilience and then the curiosity to explore is key. But ONS statistics show that employees with a degree or equivalent higher qualification are 4 times more likely to have received training at work than employees with no qualification at all. And as leaders, we must change this. We must provide the learning to allow people to embrace this new way of working and not something that is leveraged by a select few. And by doing so, we will really enable ourselves to build teams not only diverse in their experience and background, but also in their thinking. Change can often be difficult for people. Most of us prefer the status quo. We prefer that things were left how they are now. And that's a natural reaction for all of us to have. I want to stay in my comfort zone. And when it comes to automation, there is a real myth that looms over society in general, that the robots are coming. They're here to take all of our jobs, and us humans will be left out of the equation. The media seem to have whipped everyone into such a frenzy that people often find it easier to avoid the conversations or put up barriers thinking they need to protect what they have. But the fact is, roles are changing. Reports suggest over 80% of the roles that will exist by 2030 haven't yet been invented. Having led a change team myself, I've seen firsthand how we've had to adapt in recent years to stay relevant and on top of the latest trends in technology. For us, this has meant a significant shift towards upskilling and reskilling, as well as coaching and feedback. Building centres of excellence is one thing, but then federating this skill set out to others is just as important. Why is it important? because we need the behaviours as much as the experience. Because believe it or not, the real story here is a human one. Building and developing automated solutions may result in tasks or processes being removed from traditional roles of the past. But these solutions need monitored, they need maintained, health checked, they often need redesigned, and sometimes even switched off. Humans are front and centre of this, and so in turn, we begin to create these roles of the future. Automation is a real asset which is changing almost every part of our society, whether that's scanning or shopping or ordering a drink at the bar. But it's not the answer to every problem. Now, more than ever, human behaviours are key. What we say, how we act, and how we leave people feeling after an interaction are priceless, and not something a robot has yet mastered the art of. In a time when we're telling each other to be more kind, embracing automation in your organisation can support you to do just that. Automation done properly can do the stuff that customers would not be willing to care for, nor do they care about, and free up us humans to do what we're good at: empathy, support, care. Who better to understand the needs of the customer than the customer themselves? Now, anyone who works for a company hundreds of years old with thousands of employees isn't without its challenges. Often, we are naturally a little risk averse. Many of our employees are long-standing ones who've experienced change many times throughout their career. They've seen mergers, acquisitions, and new IT systems come and go. They have great technical expertise, which is often invaluable. But one thing that hasn't changed in these 100 years, we are here to serve our customers, and their needs are changing fast. 2020 was a great example of this for all of us. How we communicated and interacted with customers changed significantly. Important business meetings were held in our kitchens, sending posts to the office was pointless, and every staff member had to overnight learn to become a home worker. Communication seemed a lot more instant, a lot faster, but at the same time, somehow with a closer degree of human touch and increased emotional intelligence. This coupling of technology and people has the potential to catapult many industries forward. And as a result, we've seen automation opportunities double in those 12 months of 2020. And in the last 5 years, the number of processes we have supporting our customers has increased fivefold. And here's the thing, this isn't just about the technology. When the burning platform is there and we're forced to make that leap of faith into a new way of working and shiny new tools, us humans can achieve remarkable things. Automation technology will continue to change like it has for the last 100 years, but businesses succeed or fail on the decisions, the training, the leadership of us, the employees. A recent 2-year commission led by Yvette Cooper MP on the impact of technology on workers was recently released. And in 2018, I had the pleasure of meeting them. In this report, it describes the real fear employees have around the topic of automation. And one of the reforms proposed is a major overhaul of adult training and skills to better help workers adapt. These are our colleagues, our team members. This is each one of us. The fact is, organisations must change. And to do this, we must provide our employees with the opportunities before the gap widens and avoid anyone from being left behind. In the summer of 2018, I personally was at a career crossroads. Having been involved in change for several years, I had built up a reasonable bank of knowledge and had a team of hungry staff wanting to change the world. But up until then, I'd avoided stepping too much into the automation world. Stay clear of technology, I'd say. This is way out your comfort zone. My mum even bought me my first smartphone. But then an opportunity was presented to me and I have a decision to make. Do I jump into the unknown or do I shuffle to the left and avoid it till next year? Maybe I could avoid it until someone forces me into it. It would have probably just been easier to stay in my sweet spot. But I decided to take the leap of faith, and since then, I've been on my own personal change curve. Robotics, artificial intelligence, Data science, topics I'm sure you've heard many times on this channel before, become the conversation in a normal working day for me. Overnight, I had a team of people looking to me for the answers. I didn't have them all. They did. The technical capabilities and automation tools were already there waiting to be utilised. I just needed to help them grab a hold of them. Discussing the fears with the business teams and customers became a lot easier because I'd experienced those fears firsthand myself. And slowly, as the myths are dispelled, you begin to turn around what can often seem like a pretty large cruise liner. Staff become more at ease as they start to see the benefits and they have a little more time on their hands to do the things that's important for the customers. Good news stories of a robot acting as their virtual assistant start to spread on internal social media, and with that comes momentum, belief, acceptance. Customers start to notice the difference. They want to be looked after and cared for. They often want that human touch. And the fact is, this partnership of humans and technology forms a strong allegiance. But as the technology accelerates forward at such a pace, we must also take our open mind with it. Far from limiting what we as people can achieve, automation can truly make us limitless within the workplace, but only if we allow ourselves to open our mind and embrace its potential. For business leaders, they have a duty to inspire, motivate, and help our people dispel some of these myths and fears that surround it. And in doing so, only then will we build a culture that we really are all in it together.